All right. Good morning. It is a wet Sunday morning here, and so I'm using that as an excuse to do no yard or housework, and instead, so we are. I'm currently sort of sitting at the drawing board, figuring out some new things for the game, and also trying to flesh out. I talked quite a while ago about using Magic Realm as an engine for expanding on sort of the idea as a book of quests, which is great, but I rarely play the book of quests. Um, and sort of expanding on that idea and trying to construct sort of a framework for something like one of the games which as a kid I always wanted but never got a chance to play was Barbarian Prince, where you were essentially, the idea was, hey, you're a barbarian prince, your kingdom, your father was killed, your kingdom fell, to an evil usurper, and you were on the lam, effectively trying to raise. In Barbarian Prince's case, it'd be $500, 500 gold, I should say, to raise an army and go and take back your kingdom. You had X amount of time to do it. You had to worry about food and so on and so forth, and getting chased by the king's men, etc. So I was wondering, maybe we could write that scenario. Now, so I'm doing that. That's going really slowly, by the way, because uh, just time. That's going to take a lot of thought and a lot of writing. And I am I'm old enough that is clunky for me right now, so I need to sort of figure that out and try to work that out. Um, However, in the meantime, and I always keep thinking up other projects to do in the meantime. So the other project is asking for some ideas. East Paladin threw a couple my way, which I think will stick. Um, so for events, as it were. I'm also thinking of trying to think of a couple too, like a couple, and I like things that sort of muck the game up a little bit, and I have the scoreboard up, so you're not seeing what's behind it, but that we'll get to that in a second. Um, I like things that sort of change the game up a little bit, right? Each treasure in Magic Realm is super cool and unique because it does impact the game in a major way potentially, right? Um, certain characters get the quick boots, and you're like, oh my god, I have an M3 chip with no stars. That's amazing. Now I can do a lot of things I can't do. Or I get an extra move because of the 7 league boots. Or, man, this weapon totally changes my game. So I love those. I love that. I love that crap. So I'm looking for a little bit of that too. So I'm starting to think about what quests or um, and they have to. I mean, the quest game, they're not really quests. Let's understand something. In my mind, a quest is something that has, an overarching narrative. These are tasks. These are fetch quests. I totally get it. Um, they're not. Hopefully, they don't last you 3 weeks of game time only for you to get one victory point and some reward, because then you've lost the game because someone else has completed 6 of these in the time that you completed your one. So I am looking for things that are reasonably short, or longer, but have some reward that's gonna kick you to do them. Gonna change some of the explorers to have rewards like I said, explore. Was thinking we could do something for, um, and so on. So definitely the next round of games is going to have. I'm really hoping to get maybe 10 or so extra bits in, to sort of play around and change the game up a little bit and freshen it up, right? Um, so I'm working on that. That is actually the project I'm working on right now. In the meantime, I did like the idea of a consolation game for all of my dead guys. So in the first 2 rounds, we had effectively the White Knight, the Dwarf, the Black Knight, and the Witch were the ones that died. So we're going to give them an extra game. Now, what we're going to do is we're not going to give them an extra game and then they just get more points. what I'm going to do is this sum column at the end here, which I can't point to. I'm going to point to it live, and you can pretend that I'm doing something that makes sense. So basically, what I'm talking about is this guy right here. See my little carrots there? Do you like it? You like it? Like it? So this guy, special effects. Okay, so that guy, what we're gonna do, I think, is we are going to either add another column, which is points per game, and that'll be sort of your final ranking. Or we're just going to make sure that everybody's always even at some point. What I don't want, but so I would love to be able to have some special little bits here and there. Maybe only some characters get to partake in, um, every so often. I'd still like them to count. So in this case, we got the dead guys. Maybe they get a third game, but we're only counting. But since the average is their final ranking, then the fact that the witch's score would be 4 right now. She has 8 points in 2 games. If she scores 16 points, bam, that's going to raise her up quite a bit. But she's not going to just get those points and have the extra game. So I'm thinking of putting an APG ranking here. Now the only problem with an APG is that obviously at some point you're going to have rounding issues and so on. But whatever. This isn't science. It's a dude playing Magic Realm on YouTube. A lot, way too much, way too goddamn much. So that's where I'm at, and so that's what I'm thinking of doing. So we're gonna have the consolation game, and I did like that idea. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the consolation game, sort of as an interim, so I can get some of these extra quests ready. So you see my 4 guys right here: White Knight, Dwarf, Black Knight, and Witch. Let me get rid of the big scores here, and so that's what we're doing today. We're gonna set up. Oh, not that. Not that. Not setting that up. We're setting up scores. Where the hell scores? There we go. There we go. We're setting up this game. So we got the White Knight, Black Knight. Ooh, Captain. No. New. How did that happen? So it happened because I am not paying attention to what I'm doing. That's how that happened. That's actually how a lot of things happen around here. So there we go. So there's my 4. These are all characters that got essentially killed at one point during the first 2 games. We are setting that game up today. And here you go. Here's the that we sort of fell on. So I did add another optional rule to my toolkit here. And that is going to be that at my discretion, as long as it doesn't overly advantage one character over another, I am going to allow. So the order should go here. And normally I would be totally against this because I never want a valley to just roll into a cave like that, because that's a very dead end for whoever starts there. So at my discretion, instead of then tossing this map or moving this valley around, why not just move this from 5 to 4? It's not a huge deal. It's not a big move. And yeah, I could probably take this valley and this woods and move them and find a different spot for them. And I could, and maybe I should, instead of doing what I did. But I figure, let's try it. Why not move this from 5 to 4 and just go with that? So that's a new sort of optional rule. It lets me find maps quicker. I don't have to run through as many maps because I can just go, oh, these 2 valleys are problematic. Let's see if I just move this. None of the other valleys really fall into the problematic category. Maybe this one a little bit, simply because it only goes into 1. But this is a nice These are a nice. This is a nice set of hexes though to roll into. So the inn's up top. The soldiers are down bottom here. The order is here. Ghosts in the middle. That's sort of interesting. Sort of blocking everybody. And I think we're going to start with this move. So this is the map we've chosen. Pulling our drawers here. And so let's get the characters out the door first. So White Knight, Black Knight, the Witch, and her familiar, Lane, and the Dwarf. I just hate writing two moves. It drives me nuts. It's not as bad when you're just playing one character, but when you're playing three, it's actually sort of a pain in the ass. So we're gonna lock, delete, lock, delete, lock, delete, delete, lock, delete, delete. Okay, so we've gotten that done. And now let's I always like how this one shit never goes to the right spot. It's sort of interesting that that's even a thing. Let's unlock this. Let's move the entire thing, say, to here. Sure. All right. So, oops, are we unlocking this? Yes. That's probably big enough. We'll leave room on the side for the cards. There you go. How about that? And we will. Could we just copy this and paste it? Is that? Oops. Well, that's a little bit much there. Okay. And let's see, because the main problem is the main problem that I have always is that unless it is mine specifically, I can't type on, right? Because I'm only the white player here, and everybody else is. Even though I've done the motions to do it, I can't type on any of these sheets unless I delete them and recreate them. So I wonder, can I type on you? Yes. Okay, good enough. So that'll work. And copy paste is a little less problematic than cloning, because cloning I have to right click, and sometimes sometimes that becomes a mess. So I'm going to move this up top. Copy, paste, paste, paste. Although I'm better at and then there we go. So we got the player board set up. And what we really need to do now is pick some spells. So, I mean, the White Knight is sort of easy. We're just going to search. We're going to pick Make Whole because there's no good reason not to pick Make Whole as the White Knight, really. I mean, there's a couple reasons that you. It's a couple times I could see going another way. So there's Make Whole. The Black Knight doesn't get anything. Neither does the Dwarf. So it really is the Witch, and the Witch is type 2, type 5, or type 8. 2, 5, and 8. Oh, the other thing I am working on, by the way, is sort of a protocol in these solo multi-hero games for PvP. So what allows PvP? How do you handle the fact that none of the movement is hidden in a solo game, since I'm playing everybody? And when does I actually don't want to kill characters off, but what can you do to them? Like that kind of thing. Like to sort of allow that to become part of these games. So PvP will not be unrestricted. You will have to have specific conditions and reasons to start it. Once you do, there's going to be a little bit of an initiative thing going on to determine who has to write their move first, and so on. So the witch gets 3 types of spells here. So what are we going for her? Typically, I like an absorb for her. As it goes, that protects her fairly well against big stuff, with the caveat being that, I mean, she, at that point, so she gets 3 spells. So she's a tier spellcaster, as opposed to, say, an S tier spellcaster. So she has no purple and no gold, so it's pretty much gray. Blend in a background. Summon animals, not terrible. Summon animals, not horrible. It is. I don't think it's not as good as Summon Elemental. It is slightly shittier than Summon Elemental, and I vaguely feel that's appropriate, since it seems that all the gray combat spells are slightly worse than their Type 4 counterparts. I think that some of these are like, you roll a bat and that's great. You can wipe out a set of goblins. So that's sort of cool. The serpent and the bearer, cool. That's 3 or 2. The wolf, you get 2 of them, and so that's going to, in theory, take a bunch of heat off you. And of course, the squirrel is I can't kill anything, but I can at least take, 1 thing off of you. And she gets a little bit of utility in here, in that she can walk the woods or fly. So I do like that spell. I don't know that it's better than her other options. Torchbearer is really good, since it effectively makes you a dwarf until you walk out into the sunlight. Those are probably the ones that I would actually consider taking from Type 2 for the witch. Oops. Oh yeah, I'll flip this. That's actually a good idea, strangely enough. Obviously, Type 5, Absorb Essence, Animate, Broomstick. I haven't done Hypnotize, but it's actually not a bad idea. It does not invoke Treachery, so you could literally walk to the order, hit a guy with this, and then walk around with the order. And then I like the optional roll that it could last for quite a bit of time. And on a roll of a 6 at the beginning of the day, that guy walks, or at the end of the day, that guy walks away. These are my, so she has a lot of options. I think Absorb Essence is vaguely the best one of these. So the problem with the witch, her black magic is 4, 5, 6. So the times are pretty slow. So she has to be alerted to actually take advantage of Drain Life, as opposed to the Witch King. Her counterpart has time 2 black magic. So he can use this with impunity, whereas she has to sort of slow play it, and she's got to be hidden. She is a much better absorber, I think, than she is a Drain Lifer for that reason. I think Ancient Pact is okay, but I think Hypnotize is, I think it's better. It's a better spell. And to some degree, I think with my black, I would take Summon Animals, since this summons a single goblin. Now, the nice thing is, if there are goblins on the board, you can choose one. Any active stack, you can choose one. So, or a goblin horde or a goblin siege, you can choose one. So you could be like, I want the sword goblin because he's got a heavy freaking sword. Right. Or I want the axe goblin because I need a time 3 attack. So I do think there's reasons to take this. usually what I look for in my spell choices is, do I have a defensive option? Do I have an offensive option? And how does that offensive option work on whom? So, for instance, absorb would be the offensive option on tremendous, on big things, and she would not have good against little stuff. She would be sort of done on little stuff. Um, summon would be better on little stuff because you might, if you're hidden, for instance, and you pull a a serpent, then you're probably killing a gaggle of goblins, maybe slowly, but you might be able to kill them. Um, and then obviously you have the idea of utility, or what else do we have? So remedy, obviously. So actually, you know what? I'm going to delete the dex once I pull all the spells off. So remedy is great. Poison is intriguing for her. I mean, rumors is okay, but I don't know that I'm wasting a spell pick on it. Guide Spider Octopus is always good. I there's so many times I don't take it. Deal with Goblins probably is way better than and Nudge. Those are probably the ones. Those are probably the ones that I would actually consider. So here's the deck, right? Yeah, so let me delete. So Guide Spider Octopus seems to I've dropped that, so I've not taken that so many times. Because the lure of Nudge always sort of gets me. But this is a winner in the sense that it effectively allows you to own two sites, right? You can own the pool, you can own the damn cairn. You can just walk these guys right out. I think it does help. Remedy is very useful. It helps absorb, right? So she takes absorb. Remedy is an obvious choice. If you're going with a summon, or if you're going with, so for instance, now the problem is having enough gray to sort of power that, because she has three chits. She's going to have one of them turn to summon animal. So one of them's going to be type 2, 2 grays. She's going to use a gray and a gray here. But taking something like the serpent and giving him a sharpness star, or taking something like the bear and giving him a sharpness star, and so on. Like every creature is better with a damn sharpness star. Or she hires, or hell, deal with goblins, and then a sharpness star on one of those goblins is actually fairly scary. Right? You could fire up grab a sword goblin, or a team of them, which is sort of ridiculous. And now, mind you, the goblins are neutral, so it's still no guarantee. So I don't think deal with goblins. I think I'm going to delete that one. Not going to do it. Yeah, you can pacify goblins, and that's awesome. But neutral means a lot of crappy rolls to hire them. So I think we're going to delete that one. If we go absorb and take remedy, the only problem with, say, like a hypnotize, is that who are you getting for your spell use? I don't know. You're getting what, the top rogue? Who gives a crap? And yeah, I mean, that's great, but then at some point he leaves you, and then he leaves you in the lurch, right? You're not hiring anybody. So I think we're going to delete hypnotize. I think we're deleting Drain Life, and I think. I mean, anime doesn't suck as long as you can get someone killed in your thing. But the problem is, how are you going to kill that dude? So we're going to delete that one too. So that's going to leave us. I do think that we are leaning towards sort of a traditional absorb. Now, the only question would be so she is not a incapable lady. Like, she can run from a lot of crap. So the question is, do you take Broomstick and do that, or do you just rely on being hidden? Broomstick does allow you to get to a good absorb target faster. So if one pops across the board, so the interesting question is, you have the White Knight who's going to appear at the chapel, likely. You have the Dwarf that can choose maybe the guardhouse. I don't know that he would. I think he probably chooses the inn in this case to get as quickly as possible to the borderland, which will get him to the cavern. Right? So the Dwarf is going to appear at the inn or the guardhouse. The guardhouse is a bad start for him because he has a lot of walking to do. Whereas if he starts up here, it's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and then you're into the borderland here. And from there, you can easily get to the cavern. And from the cavern, you can easily get to the cave. So this is a good map for the Dwarf because the three main cave sort of spots are pretty close together. They are 3 days away from him. So she knows where he's going. And if something pops, so that would lead us to what I consider the default trinity for the witch, which is Remedy, Broomstick, and Absorb Essence. Now the only thing I'm considering is, do you get rid of Broomstick and take, say, Guide Spider Octopus, which is a good, not a bad option? Do you Torchbearer is not a bad option. Broomstick gives her a chit, but it does burn. The problem with Broomstick is that at some point, she's continuously sort of burning up 2 chits, 2 black chits, which she needs. Although having another type 5 is good because once you cast this, that's it. It's not getting cast again until you remedy. So I'm either here or maybe here. Can you do the witch without a broomstick? I think we're going with the map as it is. So we're starting here. We're going to start with the Black Knight and the Dwarf. So a lot of the characters are going to be bunged up. I think we're going to get her broomstick just because we might want an early exit. And then then do you replace Remedy? So you've tied up all your black chits pretty much to cast these guys. Do you You're not taking poison in that case. You're not taking summon animal, is my guess. But you might take Torchbearer simply because you can then act in the cave sort of with a little bit more impunity. But again, you're only going to get one shot at Absorb Essence at that point. I think we're going to go. I think Ancient Pact is a no. I think Nudge is a no because you don't have many uses for it. I still like Guide Spider or Octopus. I still think that I have ditched that too often. And again, Remedy allows you to break one spell. So I am really considering one of these two. Obviously, Remedy ties directly into Absorb Essence, so let's understand that. Guides Spider Octopus really means if I find the cairn or someone else does, or I find the pool or someone else does, that she can just sit on it and loot and not worry about it. And when it does happen that she needs to, monster appears, she just pops Guide Spider Octopus and sends them away, or kills whatever else shows up on here, and so on. She's going to probably she's two of these chits. She can cast this really fast. So it's a good use of her 8 chit. I'm gonna go with that. I'm doing it. So I think it's weird. You only get, so what that means is you're only gonna get one good shot at this, so you need to make this work. I don't think she's going to use Absorb Essence to be a killing machine. I think she's going to use Absorb Essence as sort of a defensive machine. Broomstick to get out of dodge if she needs to. I do think this is a little bit dicey, potentially, simply because, again, if you never find the pool or you never find the cairn, then, well, it's sort of useless. It doesn't do you much good. But let's try it out. I like a little bit different. So that's it. We pick spells, and we are done. Let's put characters on their spots. So the Black Knight is on the inn, along with the witch and her familiar, along with the dwarf, since the dwarf would not start at the guardhouse, and the White Knight is starting at the chapel because he sort of has to execute his Morning Star strategy there. So that's that. Now we're going to grab our saved objects. We have our event bag, which is going up here. Our event deck up there. Our quest deck goes on the side over here. So we've got all that going. Oops. I'm going to increase the size of this by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go, done. So we've increased the size. The event deck does not need to be any bigger than it is. It's gigantic. So let's shuffle and draw quests for our characters. I'm going to regret these witches' spell choices, aren't I? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. 2, 2, 3, 4. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And 3, 2. Oops, I just pulled it into my hand. 2, 3, and 4. So there we go. Flip these. So the White Knight gets the challenge, Spider Slayer, and Tiny Hut. So you can put a visitor somewhere. Let's see who his challenge is. Challenge. Oh, and we need all the bits, right? So components, we're gonna pull the 3 dice that we always use, a D8, D6, D10. We're gonna make them slightly oversized. And what else do we need? We need the quest tables. And we will also make that slightly oversized. Like that. About that big. So for the White Knight, we roll a d6 plus 2. That gives us 8. So the top Lancer is at one of the dwellings. What dwelling? He's at 3. He's at the house. So Lancer's at the house. It's like a game of Clue. Lancer's horse is there too, so it does take 2 hits to smack this guy down. Lancer at the house. Lancer at house. Okay, so that's the challenge. The house isn't so far away, but it's a little bit away. Then we have Tiny Hut and Spider Slayer. So we're going to keep Tiny Hut because we'll just place someone. So the hut is in the woods and the Spider Slayer. And I think Spider Slayer is a good one. So for now, I think we keep those, but we can obviously... so we're going to flip these and... well, hell, the Black Knight's going to get Windfall. And then Woodsman and Locate Lair. So end the phase at the small campfire. I don't like where the woods ended up. So I'm not super happy with that one. I think we're going to ditch that one and otherwise keep everything else. So we're going to go... And while I'm here, I might as well make my camera 6. There we go. So we're going to draw another one and flip it and come down here. And it's Locate the Vault. So the Black Knight is going to end up with Windfall. So that's 5 free bucks. And then he has Locate Lair and Locate Vault. I think he'll keep those. I think those are pretty straightforward. Hopefully you can read all those at this level of zoom. So I think this is, yeah, so this is going to be our 2 camera. I think that's a good level of zoom. Let me find the White Knights. 1, that's our 1 camera. There we go. Okay. So next are the Witch. So the Witch's quests are Thief, Tiny Hut, and Armorer. Well, that's going to go. So she's going to toss that instantly. That's not even a thing. She's not going to have armor. Oh, Consult Demon. That's actually, oops, we don't have a camera 3. Well, that's an issue. So she's going to keep these. So Tiny Hut Valley. So Tiny Hut in the Valley. She's got Thief. That ain't bad. And she has Consult Demon, which is very thematic. So I think she's going to keep these for sure. And let's make her scheme or her camera here. So same level of zoom. That's pretty close to what I expect. So 3. While we're here, we'll just slide on over to the Dwarf. I think that vaguely works for the Dwarf also. So 4. So there you go. So, and now we have the 3 quests for the Dwarf. And let's go to him and flip these. Lost Pouch. That is a gimme to keep. Cursebreaker is not. And Wolf Tamer is not. So I think these ones are going back in the box. Come on, you can do it. Nope, can't do it. All right, so we're going to draw 2 more. and then meander over to the dwarf and flip them. Take cover and Dragon Slayer. So Dragon Slayer is a gimme for the dwarf, 100%. So Lost Pouch is easy. Dragon Slayer is okay. Take cover is awesome to have. Those are our quests for our characters. You can see them down below, I hope. So that's how we're going to start character-wise. And finally, it looks like we have 3 events to draw and place. So we're going to shuffle. Good idea. And then draw 3. 1 is bandits. 2 is the riddle game, which we actually don't know where it is at the moment. Since we need to find Ruins W, Bones W, or Dank W. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search through. We're going to take the riddle game here. And I'm going to put it, over here. It's sort of awkward, but I'm putting it there. The bandits. Where are you, bandits? Do we have banditry? I thought we had a banditry tile. These need to be ordered. And then a miner. And we have that. So we got these 2 to place. So let's do that. So the banditry, if you'll notice, we get a D6. I love these cards, by the way, because I can just do this and show you what the hell's going on. So D6, and we have 6 places to put this guy. So let's do it. I actually wish I handwrote the cards like this. Handwritten, most of them say, yeah, you got to look at the document because I'm too lazy to write all this. So we roll a D6. 6. So it is in Mountains 5. So we're going to go to Mountain 5. Oh, we do not have a... so Mountain 5 is there. So on the cusp of the mountains. And we're going to take the top 3 rogues and make them bandits for now. Done. So those are our bandits. Our riddle game is on the appearance chart. And the miner appears in the caves. Random clearing. So clearing 4. So let's go to the caves. Clearing 4. And there's our miner. That is prime for the dwarf, let me tell you. And then let's make this just slightly, maybe slightly zoomed in a little like that. There you go. There's our camera 5. So as soon as we find a woods, ruins, bones, or dank, so so the riddle game appears in any ruins clearing that could contain monsters is really what it is. As soon as you find that tile, that's going to pop, and you can try the imps riddle or kill them. Actually, killing the imp is non-trivial. If you're willing to fight and get a curse. So that's it. That's what we got. We have 3 events. We have spells, and we have quests for each of our guys. I do think... so you got Windfall and Lost Pouch. Let's the dwarf... we will have the dwarf roll his Lost Pouch. So for that, we roll any... Dude, it is the chapel. No, it is the... Yeah, it's the order. So the order has the pouch. So... No, that's a good question. Do we even give a crap? So we could, as a for instance, I'm going to put, we'll put that on the, why not? It's here. Can we even, we can get there. Once we get down to here, you could go and give this to the order. And what that would do is that would make them friendly with him if he turned that in. Now that's vaguely intriguing because if they're friendly with you and you have some cash, hiring that freaking 03 or that dude's a badass. Those guys they're as tough as dragons. They can kill dragons. They have a horse. So they actually take 2 hits to kill. Those guys are just crazy good. It's really the main power of the pilgrim and half of the main power of the white knight. So that's intriguing. Now, having said that, man, getting 3d6 gold, that's 10 gold on average. 10 gold on average. But 10 gold on average, immediately puts you into the winning the gold category. So, maybe that's how you roll anyway. And he might be able, just with that, to hire, say, one of these guys or two of these guys. Ideally, you'd want to hire all three, but that is out of reach at the moment. Maybe you hire. So I think we have a lot of options here on day one, and I think we're ready to start our game. So I will see you all later. Maybe this is a live stream later this evening tonight. I don't know yet sort of what my schedule is going to look like. I'm trying to coerce my family into playing a board game with me. We'll see if that works. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think the teenagers are up yet. So that's it. Talk to you all later. Bye-bye.